research is to be able to bring it to a conference like this. And then they give you information so that you can handwrite. Because we know if we just stood up here and talked, you didn't have any paper and pencil, nothing to write down, you won't remember anything. But because you have the questions right in front of you and the answers are going to be, you're writing them in. It keeps your attention, it makes you think, and it also helps you to write down any other additional questions you might have. It's going to take a little while to sink in, but let me tell you one thing. And the bottom line is that because you came and you have an interest, it's just after this is over, you'll say, you know what, I'm going to look a little bit more on this subject. Our main thing is, and we are not against doctors, understand that. We're not against surgery. But before I go to a doctor, I want to have some information in my head. Before they begin to prescribe and say things to me about what I'm supposed to be doing, I need to have some education. I need to know, and if I don't like what they're saying to me, I'm getting a second opinion. I'm getting a second opinion. I tell people all the time, my clients that come to me, they bring their medicines in. They're coming in with high blood pressure or heart disease. I say, when you see me, I need a 3-day diet recall as a nutritionist. I want to know what you've eaten. I want to know any medications you might be on, anything you have been drinking. I need to know what that is. I like to have it before you meet me, because I'm looking to see what is missing in the diet, what is going on with the metabolism, what is happening inside the body that's causing some problems. Then I ask them to take out any medications they might have. That can be regular medicines, or it can even be herbal medicines. I want them all out so I can see them. And when I see the medicines, then we can begin to talk about what's going on. Why are you taking this? How long have you been taking this? Is this the lowest amount of the medication that you can take? Because sometimes you can go to a doctor and they might say to you that you got high blood pressure. I'm going to put you on 15 milligrams of a medicine. But guess what? 5 milligrams could do the same thing, and you don't have to take the other 10. So you have to be educated. So when you go to doctor, you know something. And if you're not familiar with what you're saying to them, you want to say, let me just get back with you. Let me write that down, and I'll give you a call. When Curtis made a comment about me and my cancer, I want to say to you that I already had education on cancer. Curtis and I did seminars on cancer years before it even happened. So that when I went to my surgeon and then to my oncologist, the question was, they said what was supposed to be said to me as a breast cancer survivor. Then they began to talk to me about what they should do and I should do about what was going on. I asked a question to my doctor, tell me something. If I were to take the cocktail you already now prescribing for me with cancer, tell me what could possibly be any of the side effects. They didn't expect that question. They wanted me to say, I will do it. Because the word cancer, everybody thinks means death. But cancer also means conqueror and also means Christ, who is the head of all things. So when I asked the question, tell me what was the possible side effects? And they began to say, there's a possibility you might wind up with congestive heart failure. You could have a problem with your vertebrae, breakage of the vertebrae if you have a risk. You're going to lose all your hair. You become very lethargic. You'll be vomiting quite a bit. You'll be bedridden. And then I said this to my doctor. How does that sound to you? How does that sound? See, because most people, when they hear the word cancer, they get worked up and they're ready, I want to live, and whatever you say, I'm going to do. I said, no. How does that sound to you? He did not expect that. He said, well, I can only tell you what we have written up, so I understand that. But I'm saying to you, that don't sound good to me. So I'm going to take my crazy self home. I'm going to get my prayer warriors, my pastors. I'm going to get my anointing going on. I'm going to do some more research and have my husband check some stuff out. I'll get back with you. He said, if you don't do what I tell you to do, Paula, you are going to die. So hold that. Wait a minute. Hold up. Because the only person who gives life and takes life is God himself. So, since I've already had surgery, and obviously I'm still here, and unless I go outside and get hit by a car, I'll still be alive, I think I'm going to take my second chance. I think I'm going to do the research and check it out and see what's going on before I allow myself to go through what you think might happen as a result of the cocktail you're going to give me. And I did. And I had the anointing, and I did the prayer, And God said, no. And I'm thankful and grateful because lifestyle and the way we live and the faith we have has a lot to do with how we survive through anything that we go through. All right? And Curse already mentioned to you before, and we'll say it again. God willing, as of August the 11th of this year, I will be a 13-year breast cancer survivor. So our conferences are designed to talk about lifestyle. And the thing I love about lifestyle is that there's a statement that's made in the book of Psalms. David makes the statement. He says, I praise you, O God, because we are fearfully and wonderfully made. And so with that in mind, we've just taken that part of the lifestyle and we've designed it so that it can be things you could do that cannot hurt you. You see? The only thing that can hurt you is if you don't do it. All right? And so when we talk about this cholesterol and we talk about coronary artery disease, we want to know from a nutrition standpoint, what can we do that can make a difference? I submit to you that many of the times when my clients that come to me, what they're doing is not what we're going to be telling them. But we have found that as they come and they begin to practice the lifestyle that we have said, many of them have not only been able to come off their medicines, but been able to feel better. That's the name of the game, right? That's what we want. So nutrition therapy is really very important because it helps us to see what part does nutrition play in the overall scheme of lifestyle. Well, let's talk a little bit about that, nutrition therapy. When we talk about nutrition therapy, the thing I think is so important is that we made a statement earlier today, for those of you who were not with us, we had the opportunity to go to...
You clicked one too soon. Go back. Go back. Yeah. Okay. No, this. Click again. Okay.
Okay. This is Curtis's toy. So whenever I get the toy, if it doesn't act right, it's Curtis's fault. So am I good now, baby? Am I good? I'm good. Question number 11.
You just hide the mic. We can discuss it. Lord, give me strength. Just give me strength.
So people often say to me, you know, Paula, I don't really think that, I think I can eat whatever I want to eat. I can do whatever I want to do. And I don't think, you know, that nobody needs to be telling me what's up. But I say, you know what, but the Bible does talk to us about diet. As a matter of fact, not only does it talk about diet, it was so important about our diet that God did not put it in Psalms or Revelation. He put it in the very first chapter in the book of the Bible. So after he created everything, the sun, the moon, the stars, and he divided the earth and from the ocean, he did all that. Then he breathed into man the breath of life and we became a living soul. And when we showed up on the scene, everything was in place. So if it doesn't matter, why would he put it there? Why would he even have it sitting there as we show up on the scene? So, number 11. Read it with me. It says what? I have given you and every tree, they will be yours for food. They will be yours for food. So there is something to be said about lifestyle and our nutrition, eating habits. And then after sin, the next one came in to play. Genesis 3:18. Read it with me. It says what? And you will eat the plants of the field. I tell you that all my clients that make a change in no matter what disease or why they're coming to us, when they go back to God's original diet, things happen. Things happen, all right? And so with that in mind, as we're looking at the way that we begin to start up, and we've had clients come to us and say, but you know, Paula, we have a genetic predisposure to major killer diseases. I said, I understand that. But once again, it does not mean that you cannot start something and not see how it works out. There's a possibility. I had a client once that had high cholesterol, and they were saying that it's in my family line. I said, okay, but let's just do this for a moment. Let's just cut the meat stuff and the fat stuff and the refined carbohydrates. even with your genetic predisposition. And let's see what happens. What do you think happened? It got better. But the minute they went back on all the things that I had said were not good for them because they had predisposure, what do you think happened? It got worse. God knows what he's doing. He knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's talking about. So I love the fact that nutrition therapy has a lot to play in what's going on. Let's go a little bit further. How many have been to see the Ark in Kentucky? I got a couple hands. How was it?
Oh, beautiful.
I heard that. As a matter of fact, I am so overwhelmed because my husband is going to take me this year to the Ark. I cannot wait to go to the Ark. You know what I'm saying? I cannot wait. I have a friend girl that went there. She said it is so tall, it is so big, but you look like a little itty bitty person that's just standing next to it. I'm like, I can't wait. We're going there. We're going to go to the Creation Museum as well, but I understand it's in the same area. This thing is enormous. But one of the things I asked some of my friends that came back from the Ark, I just want to ask you one question about the Ark. Was the diet on the ship, on the Ark? Was it on there? They said, yeah, girl, they had the diet on the Ark. Yeah, when you came on up in there, you got a chance to see it. And I said, what was the diet? Somebody got that right. They said the vegetarian diet was on the Ark. So even a guy who created this whole thing for people to come and see, he was reading the Word of God. He was reading the Word of God. And so, yeah, these things are important, and I always tell my clients, just go backwards and try these things, and let's see what's going to happen. God is awesome. So let's look then a little bit closer. Number 12. So how important really is fruit? Now, this is one of the ones that really blew people's minds, because once again, sometimes when people come to me, they'll say, there's no fruits I like, I don't like any vegetables, and so, you know, I don't know how I'm going to work this thing out. But let's look at some research. This is an actual research that was done, and these individuals, I'm going to go ahead and put the words in. It's going to blow your mind. It is estimated that a diet that is low in what? Fruit. That is low in what? Fruit. That's low in what? Fruit. Okay, that's a little bit more than 2 people. Okay. Fruit is the 3rd most important risk factor of cardiovascular disease, following high blood pressure and cigarette smoking. That would blow people's mind, that research saying, you got to have some fruit in that diet. Got to have some fruit in that diet. And let's look a little bit further at this one, because if you look at this, you will see, check it out, high blood pressure, there's a cigarette, there's the fruit, all right? As seeing what is going on, who would ever guess that just by eating some fruit could help us out? Yeah. And you would never put them on the same line with the cigarette smoking for sure, and high blood pressure. I love, L-O-V-E, love me some fruit. And now we're moving into the season where the fruits are coming out and they are looking gorgeous, all right? And not only can you grow your own fruit, but you can also buy good fruit that can help with the problem of cardiovascular disease. On top of that, here's the powerful information about the fruit itself. This is fruit prevention. Several fruits have shown, this is deep, strong, what? Protective, what? That possess similar, and even more potent than heart medication, which has inspired researchers to explore this new therapy. So when we have, we got that fruit. And how about that fruit can be equal to, if not better than, medication? Wow. That's because in the fruit and the vegetable kingdom, it is said the fruit, the vegetable, and the grain kingdom are housed all the nutrients that the body needs to have to survive. Wow. Only Creator God can do that. So when we're thinking about that, educating people on let's get on some different kind of fruits and stuff, and let's see what's going to happen. Along with what I said to you earlier, many of my clients that come to me that are taking medications are taking too high a dose of it. I said, have you ever asked your doctor, do you have to take 25 milligrams of that? No. That's what they told me. Okay, when you go back again, why don't you ask them, can we lower that amount? I never thought about that. Oh, because see, the higher it goes, the more problems and side effects you're going to have from it. So why not ask that question? Why not ask that question? So we can see that fruits, eating the different combinations, variations of fruits, they got all the vitamins and minerals and everything in them as well, can be a real good substitute, can be something else that we can use as well. And guess what? Even with your medication, you can still have fruit too. Hello. Okay? So let's just see then what does, number 13, what does the fruit really do for us? Protects the walls of the artery. Fruit. Ooh, reduce blood pressure. This is a good one. Inhibit blood clots. Fruit. Did you know that? That's some heavy stuff there. He already talked to you about the artery, clogging up the artery, and that how we saw a picture of the arteries getting clogged with that plaque buildup coming in closer and closer, and eventually to the point where it gives us a heart attack. From the neck up, a stroke. From the neck down, a heart attack. So protecting that artery wall is very, very important. And reducing blood pressure, we know we want to keep that reduced. Yes? I don't know if you know or not, they just removed the number of the blood pressure now to 130. Why did they move it to 130? Could it be to capture more people to take high blood pressure medicine? Yes. And do you know that every time a person that goes to a doctor, depending on what happened, have you ever rushed into a doctor's office because you almost missed your appointment and they put that call on you and tell you, come on, let's take your blood pressure, and all of a sudden, oh, it's 190 over 101. You got to have a heart attack. You have no idea. I was in a car on my way here. I was in the cars were all locked up out there, and I was scared I was going to be late, you know, and I had a child call me on the phone, and yeah, you're going to be up there stressed out. Your blood pressure going to go up. You sit down for a hot sec. Matter of fact, it's okay to tell the nurse, just a moment, can I just take a chill out? You have no idea what I just went through. Okay, I just see my doctor and let's do the blood pressure after it's over. I don't know, but I just know that I am really worked up at this point, okay? And then inhibiting that blood clot, that's important. So just the fruit kingdom can do that for us. It can even, this is the part that is so amazing, fruit can even facilitate the restoration and the function of the heart and the vessel after injury. David says, I praise you, O God, because we're so fearfully and wonderfully made. It is something about when we take that one step to try to do something different. The body has the capability of healing itself. Wow. Do you know that we were never designed to die? Yes. We were never designed to die. Sin caused death. We were never, and there's something about that creativity that's inside of us that when we start doing what we need to do, the body can have the ability to correct itself just by simply making some changes. Taking some changes. So let's go a little bit further. Let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food. How many have heard that before? Hippocrates made that statement. He made that statement. Based on several clinical studies, researchers found the risk of stroke and heart attacks that caused 20% of deaths was cut by what? 7% for each additional fruit and vegetable consumed. He's talking about fruit and vegetables. Just by adding more, you know. For those who are not adding any, just making sure we put some in there, you know. By just adding, we can actually cut our opportunity or the chances of a stroke or a heart attack, all right? Now, this is not apple pie. So you don't have to think of that. And it's not apple juice. This is the apple. The apple. Red or green, the apple. With the skin, everything. That's what they were talking about, okay? Okay, just in case I can see your minds coming. I can see, okay, go straight down, okay. All right, let's look a little bit closer at this one. An apple a day. Oh, I hear a few people. What does it say? An apple a day does what? Not away. Okay, all right, so study. This group one, they ate, what did they eat? Red and gold delicious apple. How often? 4 times a week, And look at the results, look at the results. The apple group saw what? 40% reduction in the small LDL over the control group. Apple, really? Come on. Look at that. Look at where they start. And look at after 4 weeks. Before and after. An apple. Who would have guessed? Who would have thought? I'm telling you that God's original diet is number uno. Number uno. All right? Let's go a little bit further on this one and see what else we can see. This is Florida State University did this study. Okay, now this is the same study, the same people who did this apple for 4 weeks. Okay, the women also, it was able to reduce inflammation in the arteries, and on average, the women lost about 3.3 pounds. Well, I don't know a sister that don't want that to go down. Okay, so I mean, they're in there for the apple for coordinated artery disease, and they get to lose a little bit, a couple pounds on top of that. I said, yeah, up to the apple. Oh, I heard one amen. The rest of us still thinking about it, but that's okay. Apples. Okay. All right, this is number 14. This is one of the research found. I'm going to go ahead and put let me hold up now. Researchers found the effect of different proteins on the heart. They discovered that people who ate blank saw a sharp rise in cardiovascular disease. However, eating protein from blank, which linked to a 40% reduction in a cardiovascular disease. Let's go ahead and put those words on in there. So read with me, it says what? Researchers found the effects of different proteins on the heart, and they discovered that people who ate what? A lot of meat saw a sharp rise in their cardiovascular disease. However, eating protein from the nut kingdom was linked to a 40% reduction in cardiovascular disease. Once again, research is speaking for itself. Meat eaters and nuts. But let me say something about the nut kingdom. Because every now and then people say to me, but you know, Paula, I heard the nuts are real good, you know, and that we should go ahead on and consume them. Those are really good. It depends on what nuts you're actually eating. I started to almost say what nuts you hang around, but I didn't know. I don't want to say that part. It had nothing to do with cardiovascular disease, but it can raise your blood pressure. Okay, but let me just move on from that. I've been married this first kind of long, right? Vicky, you know, it's kind of rubbing off on, I don't know. I wouldn't like this when I first got started.
Baby, stay on the script. Stay on the script. You're drifting. You're drifting.
Okay. So with that in mind, when we're doing the nut kingdom, we want to be careful because people will say, you know, I'm hungry, so I'm going to eat nuts. And when we look at the nut kingdom and think about how much we could have, we're talking about 6 to 8 nuts in the middle of your hand. That's a serving. That's the reason why you don't want to do that in place of a potato, some green beans, some string corn. The calories from that 6 to 8 nuts can actually give you a meal almost. All right? And I remember when we first got started, when I first began doing cooking vegetarian, and some of the things I was doing was things with my, for my loaves and my burgers. I was using the pecan meal, using that quite a bit. And I remember my cholesterol levels were looking good, and then all of a sudden they started going up, and I couldn't understand what was going on. And I discovered when I was using the nuts, the walnut, the pecan meals, that is that actual nut all crushed up into a meal base. And so the calorie count and the fat count is going to be high. So as soon as I began to change it out and switch out not so much of the pecan meal with something else, I noticed that the cholesterol numbers began to come back down again. So with that in mind, the nut kingdom is very, very important. It's very, very healthy for us, but we have to remember the amount. So yes, when you say 6 to 8 ain't nothing, ain't no reason to be going there with it then, because it ain't going to do nothing to help you out. Okay, if you want to get full, you need something a little bit more, a little more something, all right? And to throw the nuts up in the air and just grab that don't even, let's not move on. All right. So we want, these are our favorite nuts right here. What are they? What? Almonds and nuts. Yeah. Those are the ones, these are what we call the king of the nuts. These are the ones that have not only good nutrients for us, but good nutrition as well. And they also serve as those that when we're making our meat from scratch, they're a part of that kingdom as well. So we're looking at the almonds and we're looking at the walnuts. Lots and lots of studies out there now on both of these nuts as far as being good in helping to control cardiovascular disease, all right? Let's look a little bit closer then, because this is one of my other favorite graphics. Okay, spreading the word. That's what we're doing today. We're spreading the word. We're educating. All right, we're spreading the word without spraying that waistline. I don't know if you've noticed it lately. You've been seeing all the companies are now they're adding such words as it's organic, it's got olive oil, omega-3, calcium, vitamin D, etc. To make them stand out. Don't be fooled. They playing us. They playing us, all right? That's just to get you up in there. But when you go to read that label, you're going to discover that some of the things they have on there is still high in fat. So it's a play on words. And remember one thing that I will say to you, if you don't remember nothing else. Don't think for one moment that those consumers out there, the individuals out there that's making those products are concerned about your health. They're concerned about the green stuff. That your health, all right? And so they'll play us with these kind of words, organic and omega-3 and calcium. You'll be like, oh, yeah, I'm definitely going to get that. But we want to see, when it comes to the margarines, what are going to be the best ones for us to actually be taking in. And these are some of the new ones on the market as well. And we're going to put for number 15, we're going to look at the numbers we should look at on the label, all right? Look at this one here when we first start talking about it. All right, no more than 1.5 grams of saturated fat. No more than 50 calories per tablespoon. And absolutely, positively, no partially hydrogenated fats or oils, period. If you see that word partially hydrogenated as the very first ingredient on a label when you go to get something, you won't leave it on the shelf. Right? You won't leave it on the shelf. So there's a lot of things out there. And because of the fact that heart disease is the #1 killer, one of the things you're seeing now is more margarines are coming out now that are more beneficial to us than ever before. And they still have that kind of buttery flavor and stuff going on with it as well. But there's a thing that's really funny, because one time I was talking to someone about the oils and about the fats, and I told them about how olive oil was better for us and some of the new things on the market, and this is what they said to me. Well, now, once again, Paula, I want to ask you a question. Then are you saying that since olive oil is better, you know, then can I go ahead and fry my potatoes in there? No. Did you hear anything I said? The answer is no. We want to cut back and cut down as much as possible. And so we also, we didn't get a chance, but I have a lot of things up here in the front because people are always saying, I'm not quite sure where I can go when it comes to different kind of foods that are out there. But there are a lot of things on the market, including now some of the newer ones out, is they've actually got the pump. This is not a pump, but they have the pumps out there now as well. So that it's actually more water than it is the actual oil itself, because you know oil mix, so you shake it up, and you actually get less of the calories and the stuff too when you're doing something like the pump itself. And when you're also doing your oils themselves, you want to go with the cold press, 100% cold press products, because the cold press is going to be better for you, all right? They go through less processing than they do when they've been processed themselves. So you're going to be reading that kind of stuff out here on the label. You want to read those labels because the label is so important. How many have seen the Smart Balance ones out there in the market? Smart Balance, and they've come a long way when they first got started. Some of that was like, I don't think so. But anyway, my job as a nutritionist is because of our programs and what we do is I go out and I scout a lot of stuff out. I spend a lot of time looking around in the market to see what's new, what have they brought out brand new as well. And that way I get a chance to see it. And on 3ABN, when I come on, Curtis and myself, we're cooking in the kitchen, we used to be able to actually have an item, a product item on top of the counter, so that when I'm talking about a meat alternative, or I'm talking about an oil or a margarine or whatever, I used to be able to sit there. And then we got the word is that when we put those things out on the counter on 3ABN, we're actually advertising the people's stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not getting no money for that. We just start putting that back. You know, I said, if you want to know what I'm using, they said, well, I want to use exactly the same thing you use because my stuff don't come out right. I said, okay. So call me up and I'll tell you exactly what I use, but we cannot put the labels out there at all. Because, I mean, if we did, we'd make us some real good money. When we baby have some stock and that stuff, you know what I'm saying? We're not be doing this. Okay, moving along. Okay. Now, look at this one. It says, take what? The wheat and the barley, the beans, the lentils, the millet, and the spelt. Put them in a storage jar and use them to make your bread. Ezekiel bread 4:9. How many got Ezekiel bread they eat now? Okay. Most people say, I can't do Ezekiel bread. That stuff costs too much money. But you know, the cost of food don't stop at the register. Where it stops is in the hospital. And it's going to take us a little further than that. You have to say to yourself, no matter what goes down, what I put into this temple, this body temple needs to be good stuff. My body is worth it. It's good stuff. And so this is a combination. Every now and then Ezekiel bread does go on sale. Every now and then. But you can also make bread yourself with bread machines. Have you noticed? Do you remember when we were using the bread machines? First of all, you remember when we used to make bread from scratch? Some of y'all did. I did. You love that. Make a couple of bread. You'd be all day long making them loaves of bread for the family. And then my husband, he saw how hard I was working, so then he bought me a bread machine. Yeah. How many got bread machines? Yeah, don't they work good? Put that stuff in that bread machine and walk away. When you come back, you got your bread. You know what I'm saying? Half a loaf, half a pound, 1.5 pounds. Oh yeah, oh yeah. But guess what? People have stopped even using the bread machines. Guess where the bread machines are at now? We call that the boutique. The thrift store is called the boutique. It's the boutique, okay? That's the boutique, the thrift store. So we go to the thrift store, and guess what? In a thrift store, person I was traveling, every time we go somewhere, we always go to the boutique. When we go to the boutique, they had a lineup of all these bread machines with the book inside of them. Come on now. The book on the instruction is inside the machine. People that threw it away and got rid of the bread machine. Guess what? That machine cost me $5. $5. Yeah, you might want to go check that out again. Remember, I just throw the stuff on it in the flour and the oil and the stuff and then turn it on and go back to business. Okay? So the combinations in all of our breads, we can actually add and mix in a little bit of some of these combinations also as well and get some real good, nutritious bread. Let's go a little bit further as we look at this one too, because we're talking now about the legume group. All right? This is number 16. Intake of legumes and the risk of cardiovascular disease, 5,398. Middle-aged individuals for 6.8 years, they began to do the following in their diet. They had the bean kingdom, chickpeas, and the lentils. Look at the result. A 34% lower risk of cardiovascular disease. Here we go, and here we go. So that means these foods here are very good for our bodies and also to help us in controlling cardiovascular disease. Cardiovascular disease. And so with that in mind, I want to make sure that we get those combinations. And you know the legume is going to be your pinto beans, your navy beans. Pinto beans take a longer time to prepare and cook. And then the ones that are your peas is going to be the peas. So we have the lentils, we have the legumes, and we have the lentils, split peas, black-eyed peas. All those are called your bean group, and they take a lesser time, 35 to 45 minutes to get ready. Where your other ones, your navy and your pinto, they're going to take a little bit longer. However, let's go back to the boutique. People that also got rid of their crock pots and slow cookers, okay? Some of you are going to be saying, you know, I might go back and check on my boutique when I go home. Okay, so when you think about it, people say, well, Paula, beans take too long to get done. I say, yeah, you cook them on the stove, or if you put them in a slow cooker. Put them in a slow cooker, get you a little bit of garlic, fresh onions going, 6 to 8 cups of water. Put those beans you've already washed up, put them on in the slow cooker or the crock pot, put the lid on it, turn it on high. Within 5.5 hours, those beans are ready, tender, ready to go. Okay? Do not put any salt in it whatsoever. It will actually retard the cooking time of the beans and stuff, and it will take a longer time to get done. But the bottom line, once again, is guess what? You ain't got to cook them. Just slow cooker and a crock pot. They're doing the work, all right? So let's go a little bit closer then. Ooh, this is one of our favorite ones, our shows on 380 that we did. And that was showing the combination of how you can mix in your beans and your grains combinations together. This is one of our spicy chili bowls that we did on the show. And we got a lot of people calling in asking, can I get that recipe with that? Doesn't it look good? And then, on top of that one, we did a program on the number 17, the supper meal. And by the way, on YouTube, and you have it on your copy as well, people are very surprised because they're still asking me, do I still cook food? I do cooking classes and stuff, but now, guess what? The cooking classes are on YouTube. Yeah. So on YouTube, you can actually just turn your computer on or your TV on, all right? And you can actually go get all the ingredients, and I'm right there in the kitchen with your cooking. Hello. You get your own private lessons, all right? This is a supper meal. On this particular program, it went very well. Believe it or not, this is one of our cancer shows. This is our skillet cabbage. Oh, yeah. Then we made some fish cakes. Yeah, we did. Then we made this spicy, savory bean dish. And then we did our fruits combination in our salad. That show went over very, very well. It was a show we did on cancer prevention, showing how you can still eat good foods and stuff no matter what is actually going on as well. And so with that in mind, YouTube, you can do that. So we want to bring to you one of our programs on 3ABN. It's a short one. This is one of the ones we did in our community when we do our community cooking classes, and showing how they can actually get into plant-based cooking without going through a lot of stress as well. Next one we're going to be using, the next recipe is knock down, drag out.
Knock down, drag out.
What we're going to be making next is chicken fajita.
Chicken fajita.
Calls for 1 part
recipe is already in your books.
2 tablespoons
Recipe is in
of
the
olive
last
oil,
page in your
2
book.
garlic cloves chopped, 1
Fajitas.
medium onion sliced, 1 green pepper sliced, 1 red pepper sliced, and 4 whole wheat tortilla shell soft. And we're going to have in 1 cup of your favorite salsa, 4 tablespoons of soy sour cream, and 1 tablespoon of chives. Now, this recipe is another quickie when we're talking about trying new recipes that you can do on top of the stove.
On top of the stove.
I mean, who does not like fajitas, okay?
I do.
So, I know. It's a quick and easy one once again.
Yes.
It calls for very simple recipes. And once again, for this type of recipe, really and truly, you can pre-cut up all your bell peppers, your onions, and everything, and have them already ready to go. And for this particular one, what I did also, this is a mock. I'm using mock chicken strips.
Okay, now let's talk about this now. Of course, there are many brands of mock chicken strips.
Yes.
Using one particular brand. This is a frozen version.
A frozen version. They got them out there once again. They got mock chicken strips. They got mock beef strips. All of those are out there on the market now. They come frozen. They're lower in sodium. They have no cholesterol whatsoever. And basically, this is actually made from soy. Soy shreds, called soy shreds, right? And so it's very, very good. And I've already pre-cooked it. It only takes a few minutes, but I already pre-cooked it. So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and start getting
down. Does it come already seasoned?
Now, some of it comes with its own seasoning, but this one is just, all I did was just brown it in a little bit of olive oil. So it does come with a seasoning. They have different flavorings, like a teriyaki, or they might have a sweet and sour. They actually come in their own packages inside of the frozen item also as well, that you put on when you get done.
Now, you can get this, again, at your regular grocery store. You don't have to necessarily go to a health food store
in
for
a
this.
frozen food section, all right?
Okay.
And so we have a lot of fun in Huntsville because we have a lot of real good stores that have come to Huntsville.
That's
you
right.
know, and so we're excited, to be able to have more variety available to us than we never did before. So what you're going to do is you go ahead and get the onions ready for me. I'm going to go ahead and turn the stove on so I can get the olive oil going. So I'm going to warm that olive oil up. And we're going to begin to add to, this is another fast and quick recipe. I'm going to go ahead and pour in my olive oil. This is 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Just going in. All right.
I guess people are wondering, well, why not use chicken? I mean, sometimes you can't take that for granted that people know that chicken is not one of the best foods to eat because a lot of the hormones in there, and of course you have the cholesterol, saturated fat. And so you have a lot of things along with the chicken that it's not really that beneficial for our health.
And that's the name.
So, a lot of diseases, Campylobacter, Salmonella, E. coli, and so a lot of those things are in recalls just about every month or week, volunteer recall. So that's why we want to go from a plant-based type than the chicken itself, because you don't get the cholesterol, saturated fat, the E. coli, Salmonella, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, that's the name of the game. I mean, a lot of times we meet, because in our health lectures we talk, we meet people who have a problem with high cholesterol or sodium levels are very, very high. Might have had their first heart attack or their first stroke. And they're trying to find something that they can switch over to. And so that's what our whole ministry is about, is actually not taking away the superfood, and the superfood I mean by foods that people are used to eating, not taking away their superfood, but trying to adapt them to a lifestyle of a more healthier version of the food.
Just want to give them something better.
Something better.
Something better. This is something
Speaking
better.
of something better, we're going to go ahead and put those onions
All
in
right.
there and talk about
That's
it.
good job, boy. Okay.
That's fine.
All right.
Okay, go ahead and put those peppers in now too. You can put the peppers in.
Now, these right here? Yeah, I'm going to
No,
need
no,
these
I want to use these.
Oh, these. Oh, okay.
We're going to go ahead and do the peppers. All this can saute at the exact same time.
Okay.
Once again, the name of the game when it comes to cooking, when it comes to food and what people see is actually all about the color. Look at the color of how beautiful this actually looks. Okay? Before we even add the mock chicken to it, it has very good color to it. And not to mention that in your yellow, your red, and your orange peppers, you actually have a high amount of vitamin C.
That's right.
Right? And so this is a part in which it's quick and easy and it's colorful. So, you know, don't negate using the orange. You can use your orange one, orange pepper. You can use the yellow pepper. You can just make it really, really fancy and very, very pretty, okay? And now we're going to add in our strips. Chicken strips.
This is a good mouthfeel, good texture to it as well.
It is, Curtis.
Could you use that, and not just fajitas, but I mean, let's mention about how you can use that other than fajitas.
Well, believe it or not, I put this in salads. You can, you know, if you have a recipe almost for chicken in a recipe, and you can actually use that, and you can actually cut the chicken into smaller pieces, smaller bite-sized pieces. It doesn't have to be this large, okay?
So any place you would normally use chicken, you can use this in this place.
Any place is calling for your chicken strips, okay, chicken strips. There are other things out there. They have chicken loaves, mock chicken loaves as well.
They have chicken
put garlic in there, baby.
They
have chicken?
Yeah.
They do. I'm gonna move that in the middle there. Got that garlic in there.
I use my thumb for that one.
Put that in. Okay. Oh man. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We're gonna expand this out here so that Hannah.
Yeah, Hannah.
She can smell that.
That's camera number 3.
Yeah, we're gonna do Hannah her way. That's what I'm saying.
You'll see, but she is smiling.
Making her hungry, but making her hungry after she said, okay?
I think she has a napkin around her neck and fork in hand.
Is she ready to
She's
go?
ready to go. All right, I just called you out.
Now, in this recipe also, these things are add-ons, okay? And I'm gonna do that in a hot second. Let's go ahead and get the shell out.
So that's, okay, now.
Shell out.
Okay, now this is whole wheat. We don't want a good plant-based diet right here and then have refined tortilla shells. So
I like the soft one, and a lot of times when I'm making these up, what I do is I actually go ahead and put the shell over top of the actual pan for a few minutes, so it actually won't right there. We're talking about quick and fast and easy. You don't want to have to go through
That's a
the
good
changes.
trick right there, baby.
Just put it on top, and it will help to heat the tortilla shell out. And then you're going to just turn them over on the other side, and the heat is actually going to make them more pliable. But we need that for us to be able to make up these.
So some of those shells are a little bit too firm. They're not
kind of
as
tough.
pliable.
It's
really hard to work with.
Yeah, usually when I buy these, I buy soft ones.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So this is already nice and pliable.
Okay.
Right here. And I'm going to move this one over. And we're going to go ahead on and fill up the shell.
Oh yeah, this is going to be a good one. Is that mine right there? Did you make it?
Yeah, this is yours.
Okay.
This is yours.
Very good.
It had it up.
No laughing. We're in class, folks.
And what we're going to do is we're going to now a couple things I do. Number one is that you can actually, if you have a dressing, you know, a sour cream or whatever you want to use, you can put on the inside. But I like to just go ahead and wrap it up like so, and then turn it over.
Oh, seam side down.
And we got the seam side down, and you can see how pliable the second one is. And so we're going to go ahead on and put in this next one as well. Now this makes like 4, but I've already got some done. You will see at the end of the show. You can see how beautiful it is on the inside. Now, one of the things that I do also, and let's say for instance, this might be the one thing we're going to have that evening.
Okay.
We're going to go ahead and fold it up, like so. And we're going to turn it over, seam side down.
Okay.
Right? And then in this recipe, what you would normally do
Now you're going to fix it up a little bit.
is you would take the actual salsa, put it on there.
You're working now, baby. Well, this will work. Now, this will work right here.
So a little bit there, bring it on down.
Okay.
Okay, and then we're going to take our other spoon here, and we're going to dab on.
Now that's the soy sour cream.
Soy sour cream.
So again, plant-based, cholesterol-free.
Right.
Has a good mouthfeel for that.
We're going to
Okay.
end up with a little bit of the chives.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, and they'll see that at the end of the show as well. But it's a really pretty dish to actually use. And with this, you can serve it up with chips, tortilla chips or baked chips. I've done that on one of our shows too in our book.
Oh, okay.
We've taken the tortilla shell and we've cut it with a pizza cutter and we've sprinkled on some onion and garlic powder on them, a tiny bit of salt, and we actually bake them in the oven and make our own chips from that as well. Or with this alone, you can actually have that. You can take beans and rice. If you want to make a big one, you take beans and rice, your black beans and your rice, you make that up, and you're going to put it inside the tortilla shell with the chicken and the bell peppers.
Oh, now
it's a big one serving.
Juicy. Right.
There you go.
There.
So on our show, we try to take the normal things that people eat on a daily basis and convert them into a more plant-based, instead of trying to give somebody something totally strange they're not used to, but basically looking at the foods that they're used to eating, but making them more healthier for them. Is that good? Yeah. Oh yeah, that's good. All right. And so let's look at that. Gardein. How many have heard of Gardein products on the market? You know, right now, a lot of my clients or people who come to me ask me questions. They say, you know, Paula, I'm not going to be cooking those garbanzo beans and soaking them and going through a bunch of changes. So let's look at what's happening when we look at the flesh food, what we're up against. When we talk about now some of the new products on the market that are frozen. They're not canned items, but they're also items that we can look at when we're talking about the carcinogens we want out, the animal protein, and also the high amount of sodium and saturated fat. And with that in mind, when we look at that flesh kingdom, look at the meat kingdom, we can see that there are new products on the market. This is the best time ever to look at some of the other things on. By the way, the Gardein group is a vegan group. They don't have the sodium levels. We're going to talk about that tomorrow as well. What is the magic number for sodium we need to look at when we're talking about high blood pressure as well. So almost anything you can think of in the meat kingdom has been assimilated now into this group. And they're not the only ones, a lot of new ones out. This is really a good time to talk plant-based because there are more products on the market than ever before if you want to do it quick and easy and you don't want to just do it all from scratch. I want to tell you, I want to end my part with one of the things that I was involved in. As a matter of fact, I just came out of. I found out in Huntsville, Alabama, the University of Birmingham had a special study going on. As a matter of fact, it started in 2006. They just brought it back, and they're now just recruiting again in the state of Alabama. And that was that this group is called Harvest for Health. And I found out that if you're a post-cancer survivor and not under doctor's care or anything like that, that they are looking for special research, people to be in research. The American Cancer Society was looking for what can plant-based do for a person who has had cancer or post-cancer survivor. And so that research is going on right now as far as what's happening, and I qualified to get in the program for 1 year. Now in this program, they gave $500 worth of stuff, which included not only your raised bed garden, 4x12, but all your dirt, all the seeds, all the plants, and everything. And for 1 year, you're to work in the garden, talking about lifestyle changes. You're to plant in the garden as well. And you do a spring, a summer, a winter, and a fall garden itself. And then after a year, they come back and retest you again to see how you fared, all right? And so these are my gardeners right there. These are the master gardeners. Everybody that got into the program had one master gardener that usually comes to you once a month, and they work with you through the soil and all the dirt and teach you and educate you about cooking, about actually working from the field itself. I was so excited about it. And they actually had, this is a 4x12, but the first part of the garden, which is 4x4, 16 different plants in the first garden for the spring. Then you moved into the fall garden, the summer garden, which is the back of this garden. Then you move back into the fall and winter garden, all right? So everything that I ever wanted to grow, we were able to grow in this garden. It blew our minds. This, believe it or not, is our tomato and cucumber and pepper plants. They grew almost 8 feet tall. They could not believe it. The master gardener said, well, we've had this program before. We have never seen anything go that big. And I said, that's because it's God's garden and he's allowing me to work with it. You know what I'm saying? And so it was just so fantastic to be able to do that. Can you imagine the American Cancer Society? They're the ones that got the grant. They just started the new grant just recently for individuals in the state of Alabama that they can get into the program right now. And this month, they're actually introducing the next set. So they've watched me for 1 solid year. There was an increase from the time I started and from then, because of course we're growing the garden, I'm eating from the garden, yeah. And then they'll be back in 18 months to see if anything else has changed any different. So what I'm saying to you, once again, lifestyle has a lot to do with what is going on. When we change our habits, when we change our lifestyle, things happen. Things happen. And so, cardiovascular disease, there's a lot of information, scientific information that talks about it. There's a big thing that's going to go on May. That was in May. That was in May 2018, where they do a lot of the sessions, Q&A, answer a lot of questions, talking about what's going on. So Curtis, you want to kind of finish this part here?
Yes, dear. Did you know the tone? Yes, dear. "25 years of marriage, I know how to do it." Yes, dear. Okay, so can coronary artery disease be reversed?
Yes.
Do about 7 minutes, and then have one other last presentation, and we'll probably get you out of here before time. So here's the thing. So back in 2018 in San Francisco, they had a vascular discovery scientific session, all right, from the American Heart Association, and basically it talks about reversing arteriosclerosis with one shot. In other words, reversing heart disease with one shot. That was the vascular discovery section in San Francisco, California. And basically what they did is this. They got some rats, fed them a high-fat diet, meat, cheese, and all that kind of stuff, and fed them to create them having heart disease on purpose. And then what they did, if you can see this, they shot the rats with one shot of some type of a plant protein substance into their tissues, all right? Plant molecules in their tissues. And they discovered that going into their tissues, just one shot into the tissues, plant substance, is simply reverse their heart disease. That's with rats. What about humans? A human trial reversing coronary artery disease. Here it is. The lifestyle trial found that 82% of patients diagnosed with heart disease who followed a what, everybody? Plant-based diet program have some level of reversing coronary artery disease, all right? And, oh, she's pretty there. Oh, that's my wife. Okay, my bad. Okay. Kind of lost it a little bit. Yeah, okay. That's real nice, girl. I'm losing my train of thought just looking at you, baby. What are we talking about? Diabetes? Oh, heart disease. Okay, my bad. All right, so the bottom line, it can and has been reversed. Now, I'm going to give some details about how that can be done, some more specifics. So, now, here it is. Okay, number 18. Okay, now we're going to go into some specifics. We talked about fruit in general. Fruit in general. We're going to highlight 1 and 2 in particular, all right? Nutrients Magazine, Medical Journal, 2017. Number 18, blank. This is one of the most important ones. Blank plays an essential role in, get this now, repairing and what, everybody? Improving. There's that word again. Endo means what? DDL means what? Layer of cells. So this is the inside layer of cells, the area that causes plaque development. So whatever this food is, it can repair and improve plaque development. Are you with me? Yes. Are you ready to write? Yes. Here, particularly the skin of the grape. So, we've done this so many times, I know what you're going to ask. So I'm going to beat you to the point. It doesn't matter if it has seed or not. You see, some of you going to ask that. That's why this time around, I'm going to beat them to the punch. Yeah. Well, what about the grapes without seed? It's the skin of the grape. We call that resveratrol. You probably heard the term. It's the skin of the grape. So whether or not it has seed or not, it doesn't really matter, right? So that goes in, and also it repairs and improves the endothelium. The apple, avocado also does this as well. All right? So now, with that in mind, really, this should not be a surprise, folks, because God's word says it. Isaiah 65, verse 8. Read this with me, everybody. This is what the Lord says. As when a juice is still found in a, what everybody? Cluster of grapes, don't destroy it. There is still a blessing in it. So therefore, this should not be a surprise. God says, no, don't destroy this group of food, not this grape right here. There is a blessing in this particular food, the grape, all right? So Isaiah 65 and verse 8. That's why we talk about God's word in our presentation, and we make no apologies about it. God's word has something to say about healthful living. Amen? Amen? All right. So, having said that, now what we're going to do is we have a bonus agenda. A bonus agenda. We travel throughout our area, our territory. And this is the first time we added this part of it. So this is not on your sheet. This is a bonus agenda. We can do this probably about maybe less than 10 minutes, and then we're done. Less than 10 minutes, and we're done. So a bonus agenda, cardiovascular fitness. A bonus agenda. All right, so we just kind of write this in your notes. And we're going to make a connection as far as fitness is concerned and one's cardiovascular health. So here we go, bonus agenda. So, number one, what does physical fitness does to our cardiovascular system? Number one, it increases the diameter of our vessels. It does what, everybody? Increases the what? So that means it makes our vessels, look at me, it makes our vessels wider. That's what fitness or activity does. Here it is. The Journal of Hypertension. This just came out a couple of months ago, 2019. Here it is. And like I said before, methods. Subjects participated in aerobic exercise for either 15 minutes or for 30 minutes. You follow me? So two groups. One aerobic for 15 minutes, another group for 30 minutes. The results. Both groups increase blood flow due to, here's the key word, vasodilatory function following exercise. In other words, it dilates the artery. When the arteries are wider, there's less chance of blood clot, more blood flow, and blood pressure comes down. That's number one. And it stays that way for hours after you finish exercising. 15 minutes or 30 minutes, all right? Here's another one. Lowers blood pressure. Journal of Applied Physiology, 2017. Sustained reduction of blood pressure was obtained from both, here it is, aerobic exercise of moderate duration and resistant exercise. In other words, bands or iron, pumping iron, weights, resistant or aerobic activity, and was sustained for blood pressure as well, as far as that's concerned, all right? So, with that in mind, then therefore, here's another one. Now, this is probably the most awesome one. Number three, the most awesome one. Rebuilds a damaged heart. Did you just hear what I just said? If you have a heart attack, and your heart muscle, part of your heart muscle is damaged, congestive heart failure, physical activity actually rebuilds. Here it is. Now, I'm taking this directly from the medical journal. That's why it's in italics. So I'm going to read this. I'm going to explain what it says. All right? Here it is. Physical activity essentially contribute to cardiovascular, here's the word, regeneration of cardiac cells and tissue. What that means says, let me just put it this way. Okay, guys, ladies too, let's say that you've blown your engine. You throw a rock. Now, if you don't know what that means, that's kind of a good thing, all right? The engine is blown, all right? What exercise does to the engine is it takes out the engine out of the car, rebuild the engine, and put it back in the car. Exercise simply regenerate the cardiac cells, the cells that's responsible for the beating action of the heart. With me, everybody? And also the tissues as well. So, having that in mind, you see now that physical activity plays a very critical role in overall cardiovascular health. So, with that in mind, we're going to play a short, about maybe 20-second video clip, and then we have a person come up and talk about it. Certified fitness instructor here in Atlanta, Georgia. All right, so let her take a few moments of her time and talk about what she has for us this afternoon.
Good evening.
Good evening.
A sedentary lifestyle is a major risk factor for coronary heart disease. Implementing exercise into one's lifestyle can feel a little overwhelming, especially for those over the age of 50. Your late 40s and 50s are a critical time, as they're usually when your arteries can stiffen. Exercise can help. It can improve your artery health, reduce your risk for coronary heart disease and stroke. Exercise improves your cardiovascular health, boosts your mood, aids your memory, and wards off viral sickness. Ideally, exercise should include aerobic activity, strength training, and flexibility training. Aerobic exercise and strength training are the most important for heart health. Although flexibility training doesn't contribute directly to heart health, it is important because it provides a good foundation for performing aerobic and strength exercises more effectively. BarFit by Eakins is designed for all bodies. My programs are and will keep your heart rate up and your muscles working hard. My programs vary depending on your needs, from low impact to high intensity training. I have helped over hundreds of clients in my 20 years set and achieve their fitness goals and provide guidance they need to meet those goals along the way. I am a certified bar instructor, a group fitness instructor, and a certified personal trainer. Certified through ACE, American Council of Exercise, Bar Above, and the YMCA USA. I love helping people find value through healthy lifestyle and healthy eating. There are numerous benefits to working with a personal trainer, including personalized exercise program, accountability, motivation, and support in achieving your fitness and wellness goals. I also offer virtual training. Virtual training includes workout programs, emails, support groups, and texting. This may be preferable to face-to-face training when cost and facility access and time constraints are a factor. My new online training video library will make exercise accessible and affordable right in your own home. shape and tone your body with workouts you can do anywhere on your mobile device. If you have any questions, there'll be a sign-up sheet. I'll be happy to answer any questions. And make sure you write down the best way to contact you. Thank you.
All right, that's good luck. I knew I was talking kind of loud because all my batteries went out, so I'm going to change them right now. And I'll tell you what, since you've been a very good guest, you can have those shared batteries. That was kind of tacky, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. Okay, now you can hear it, yeah. So she has a sign-up sheet up here on the table here. But I thought because this is one of the first times where we've been to several cities throughout the southern part of the United States, where we actually have a certified fitness instructor. In South Central Conference, we have a retreat every year. And so she's been with us for the last 3 retreats, or 3 or 4 retreats, yes. And so we're glad that she's always available as well. And so, by the way, our retreat is open for health educators, those who want to come. It's going to be the first weekend in October at Camp McDowell. Well, if you just email me if you're interested in having a retreat, just for the weekend as well, all right? So any questions as far as entry? She's here in the Atlanta area. I thought it'd be good to have her to come up and say a few words, because this is part of the overall cardiovascular health as far as the fitness is concerned, all right? So with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and close out. And we will also, like I said before, that's her website, barkfitbyeakins.com. You have that as well. So, therefore, thanks again, Eakins, for sharing that information as far as cardiovascular health. Now, so, heart health exam number 2. And you did all right with number 1. Number 2, heart health exam number 2. Here we go, folks. So far, so good. All right, here we go. So, number 1, true or false? Low fruit intake is the 3rd risk factor for coronary artery disease. True. All right. What's number 1? High blood pressure, what we're going to be talking about tomorrow at the Belvedere Church. We're going to have the address on the screen. Tomorrow is blood pressure and the heart of a woman. That's tomorrow at the Belvedere Seventh-day Adventist Church. All right. So that's number, and then fruit, low fruit is number 3. All right. So true or false? For heart healthy recipes on YouTube, type in Dr. Oz. Why are you laughing? You haven't answered the question, just keep on laughing. Type in my main and only screen is Paula Eakins, all right? Heart healthy recipes. So over a dozen cooking shows on YouTube. Anytime you get ready, all right? All right, so far so good. All right, number 3. Name the 2 nuts beneficial for the heart. Almonds and walnuts, okay? A distant 3rd is pecans. I would say this. Now, let me, the cashew is not really a nut, it's a legume. But let me say this. Now, before I say this, because some of you may know my mother, so I would say that I got this from my mother, baby, from my mother. This didn't come from me, it came from my mother. This is what she would say. Is it pronounced pecans or pecans? Okay, stop. I knew it would happen. It's pecans. The reason why it's not pecan is a candy pea. That came from my mother, it did not come from me. I don't care if you have this on video. All right. Okay, what meatless product is better for our hearts that we talked about? Gardein. It comes from 2 words. Garden, protein, gardein. Okay? Yes. And this is one of the best ones on the market as far as the mouthfeel, the texture, and the taste, and also it's excellent as far as the children is concerned as well. All right, number 1. What food can actually repair and improve coronary artery disease? No. If you said grape, it's incorrect.
Red grape.
Red grape in particular. And you eat all the Thompson green grapes you want to. I mean, it's good. The red grape has the resveratrol in the peelings. So now, I know some of you were thinking, what about the no seeds? So I already took care of that. So that way you don't have to ask me. So I'll put you to the punch on that one. All right. Okay, just one more. Okay. So wait a minute. You got A++, girl. A++. Give yourself a hand. All right. All right. So now at this time, my wife is passing out the evaluations. And again, we value your evaluations. So my wife is passing those out right there. And so when you do that, fill out those evaluations and then go ahead and turn them face down on the table right up here in the front, okay? After you finish the evaluation, all right? All right, God's promise for us, Hebrews 2:18. Everybody with me, take that one. He is able to help those who are being tempted. We talked a lot about things today. Some of the takeaway points is, number one, I know cholesterol was a topic that took a while for some of us to grasp. I get that, all right? But also, flesh food will increase risk of not just heart disease, but also cancer as well. And then fruit, one of the main things about fruit, it can also protect and reverse coronary arteries as well, all right? So keep that in mind. Okay, so therefore, because we want to keep this free and open to the public, we have, yes. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so your question, now tomorrow, because this facility costs a little bit more than $10. Okay. It costs more than 20. And so again, I just have to, those who came late, I just want to thank Ronell the Mountain, who's in the corner taking pictures. Wave your hand, stand up. And he is the Health Ministry Director of the Southern Union of Seventh-day Adventists here located in Atlanta, Georgia. And so therefore, they have helped to fund this event so that we can be here in this facility. But we want to transition over to tomorrow at the church. The Belvedere Seventh-day Adventist Church, that is the address right there. And so tomorrow, folks, at 3 o'clock, we'll be there tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Tomorrow, we're going to zero in on how to reduce high blood pressure without medication. I said without medication. If you're taking ACE inhibitors, beta blockers, you know, they call the ABCDs. A, ACE inhibitor, B, beta blockers, C, calcium channel blockers, D, diuretics, the ABCDs, all right? So we're talking about that, blood pressure, and also for women in particular, the heart of a woman's heart. Heart disease is different from a man, and its symptoms. That's going to be an eye-opener as well as far as that is concerned. So therefore, keep mindful of that. And also, I saw some of you are taking pictures. We have tomorrow at the Baptist Seventh-day Church, tomorrow we have this Healthy Heart Conference with professionally videotaped in Huntsville, Alabama. All 2 days on a 2 DVD set that's reduced. And so therefore, we have that available tomorrow. Right. Every slide you see, the video clip, the cookie, the animation is all there on 2 DVDs. It will be available tomorrow for sale for those who want that as well.